Alright, this is how to make the Hello Neighbor inventory tutorial. Or somewhat like it. It's not fully accurate, but you can basically pick up items. You can swap your current equipped item for it. You can throw items. You can also just drop them. I haven't added boxes yet to make them more physic, whatever, but you know, it works. You can throw around, pretty cool. This thing as well. You can also interact, so if I interact this with an acorn, it just does a locked sound, does not allow me to open. If I interact with a key, it unlocks and opens. Close it, open it, and if I have a hammer, bam, I can break it. So different items, just different things, whatever. That's the idea. The items themselves, all of them have the same line. It's just once. Global items. So this is just a set variable incremented by me. This just is used for the player to identify which items are pickup items. Same with the interactable items. You don't need to do anything with them. Now this is from the different code I did earlier. Who cares about that? Let's go into his brain. So the crosshair type. This one I already made a tutorial on another video. This is just basically the hand switch thing, so you can ignore that if you would like, or you can add it as well. Just crosshair type equals 1, and if crosshair type equal 1, display circle, blah 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 blah. You know. Anyway, you can look at the other thing for a more roundabout tutorial. Anyway, this is also very much different from, very much similar from the crosshair thing. This is the first-person interact thingy. So raycast hit. This basically makes a line from the camera position, direction camera forward. This just casts a line from your camera to forward, and length is 4. You can increase or decrease, whatever. And here is what you want to hit. So let's say you hit interactable items, which is the door, or that's an interact. Anything that has the brain interacted here, that is basically makes it an interactable item. And or global items, which we just established are the items on the floor. Now else start to crosshair type equals 1. It's just if you're not hitting anything, you know, you're not hitting interactable and hit a global item, the crosshair type equals 1, which is just a circle. Now if you did hit an object, we will do else. Else basically means if you didn't hit an object, but you hit terrain, crosshair type equals 1. I just added this because last time I noticed if you hit an item, a door, and then move away from it and look at terrain, it doesn't change back to the normal crosshair anyway. So else I just put at the top because, you know, you can also put it at the bottom, doesn't matter. And then, you know, next line of code, a new bracket. So this is under did hit object. Global door contains it. This basically means if it's a door, crosshair type equals 2. And if global items contains it, so if it's a global item on the floor, and now you want to make a new variable equals current item, not equal to it, crosshair type equals 2. This is, you can also rename this to holding item, works as well. I just named the current item because I like that name. It just means if you're holding an item, it may sometimes accidentally hit at it. We don't want that to happen, so we just basically make sure to ignore that. And this thing, the next line of code is under raycast. Okay, so not under the did object. It's not under this thing. See, it's not under it, so it's a new one. But it's still under raycast. Current item not equal to it. So again, that way, if you're holding something, it doesn't highlight it, doesn't display this code, blah blah blah. If B pressed, interact with it. Now this line is important. If global items contains it, so if it's an item on the floor, item check equals to it. You can also just put it over here. You can save one line of code for yourself. Item check equals it. Okay, so this is important later on. Now up here we do call page, inventory UI, and hotbar. You can also just call page 2 if you'd like, or name this page whatever you want. And then also call page inventory functions, which is this page. Now, the code here looks long, but it's a lot of just copy pasting. Anyway, so for the second page, inventory UI and hotbar, once inventory selection equals 1, this is just the panel thingy below. Display, gallery picker, you type in panel here. You have some panels you can choose from. This one I noticed looks oddly familiar to the Hello Neighbor one. So and then black scale, you make a number variable. Panels 1 scale. This basically because once you're selecting things, you will change the size. Opacity 0.8. Add scheme position 0 plus roll down multiplied by 0.9 plus west multiplied by 0.01. Okay, and then the second line is for if you have an item. So display inv item 1 is basically inventory item 1. You can also just name it inv1 or item 1. But this makes it more, you know, you can tell which item it is. Scale panel 1 scale, so same as above. But you want to also add after that minus 0.45 because items, they're usually a lot more bigger. They display more larger on UI, so you just want to minus 0.45. You can also minus 0.5 or 0.4, however you like it. You know, opacity 0.9. You can also just not ignore it and just do 1 and just ignore this line as well if you want it like to not have a bit of a fade, but I kind of like the fade. At screen position, same as above. Okay. Now the second line, the second panel, panel 2 scale, is everything is the same as above except, okay, we go here, these two have changed. Okay, so, oh actually these two, yeah, sorry. You just 0.81, so it's just, we went from 9.1 to 8.1, so you just minus 0.1 distance basically. And same goes for all the other two. So for the third one, minus, not minus, sorry, just 0.71 and 0.61. So basically for the 4, it's just a 0.1 difference for each. Now you might ask, why did I do it 9.1? You can also just do 0.9, really. It works too, and then just 0.8, 0.7, 0.6, but I kind of like the extra 0.01 difference. All right, to make a new line. Now, here we see our old friend current item again. This is if you're holding an item. Position equals camera position plus camera forward multiplied by 1. You can adjust this however you want. You can hold the item further or closer. Plus right, this is the player's right, multiplied by 0.3. Again, you can change this number however you like. Plus rolled down multiplied by 0.2. You can also change this however you like. This will get funky, however, if you look straight down and straight up, because, you know, I could make it a bit more eloquent, but who cares? It's very simplistic. And current item forward equals camera forward. That just means it constantly faces where you're facing. And current item right equals right. You could do world up equals or it's up equals world up, but it doesn't always face forward the same way. And this, I just found these to make it the easiest. Okay. Now here we have ignore line. You do not need to add this. This is just for me to make sure where I am looking at it. So this is the hotbar scrolling function. Do not add this line of code. You can delete it. Is using keyboard. You're not going to need this because, yeah, I just made a difference because I like to use scroll wheel. But you can add this too if you want to like share the thing. But for you, it's just is using control, right? You're using a control. You can basically just have this, only these two lines. All of these up here you don't need, but it's up to you if you want to add it. If you're using a controller, D-pad right direction, inventory selection by 1. This basically means you're cycling to the right side. And D-pad left direction, it decrements by 1. And here's just scroll wheel up, it goes down, and down goes up, because scroll wheels are funny. Anyway. And now, if inventory selection is greater than or equal to 5, remember, we only have 4 slots, so if it goes to the 5th slot, we don't have a 5th slot. Inventory selection equals 1. It goes right back to the first one. That basically makes it that it can never like go into an empty slot. And if inventory selection is less than or equal to 0, if less than or equal to 0, this basically means you went from your first one below the first slot. It just goes back to the 4th slot. Okay, so this is for the scrolling. Now here If the inventory selection equals to 1, panel 1 scale equals 0.8. Otherwise, the panel 1 scale equals 0.7. Remember, we added the panel scales up here. This just dictates how large you're going to look. So that's all for the UI thing. And now here is if current item not equal to, and for the object variable inventory item 1. So this is just if you're I actually forgot what this did right now. I'll explain it later maybe. Started to you drop inventory item 1 and current item equals inventory 1. Alright, so it's basically if you're if you have switched to a different inventory selection, let's say you were on 2 and now you went to 1, and the current item you're holding is not corresponding to the hotbar item 1, it's not that, then it'll drop, because remember this inventory item is currently still in your inventory. It'll then drop it onto the floor, and then current item equals inventory item 1, which will then move its position around to your hand. So it looks like you equipped it, but you never used the equip function or whatever. It's just dropped. Anyway, and now here is for the inventory selection 2, same thing all over. Inventory selection equals 2, panel scale 2, blah 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 equals 0.8, and current item equal to inventory item 2, drop inventory item 2, and the same goes for the third and the fourth. So there's a lot of repeating things. Okay, it's all just repeating. So there's not much like coding. You just have to like write the first one and then copy and then just change everything to here to 2. This one to panel scale 2. This one to inventory item 2. This to inventory item 2. And this to inventory item 2. And for 3 it's the same thing. So that's all for the UI and inventory. Bam! You're done with the UI. So awesome. Anyway, let's go to the slot check. Now remember, we did an item check. Where did we do item check? In the first line. That's right. We did item check right down here. We said if it's an item and we interacted with it, we put it in an item check. So now we have to check if we have available slots, right? Otherwise, if we have no slot, well, that's kind of funny. Anyway, let's say it. So we do item check, and then beneath it we say not inventory item 1. This basically means if inventory item 1 equals to nothing. This is what it means, but we can just make it easy. We can just say not inventory item 1. Basically, if there's no item in that slot, we say inventory item equals item check. So the item that was just on the floor that we just interacted with. Now we pick up that item, we put it in the inventory, and we say this item check collidable equals false. Remember, because we're holding it, we don't want to slam mobs away with it while we're holding it. Unless you want that, then you can leave that, you know, to true and do not move and just remove this line. And we want to do item checks physics type equals to fixed. Otherwise, some items are tumbling. They'll just constantly do a disco jam in your hand, and you don't want that happening either. And then item check equals false. Bam, it doesn't run the line anymore. Now again, you copy the same exact line up here, all these things, you paste it below and you say, now inventory item 2. Bam, you say inventory item 2 equals item check. Pick up, item check, and then item check, blah, 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 blah. All you changed was these 2 lines here. That's it. And you copy and paste it again and do inventory item 3, inventory item 3. Bam, done. And you copy paste again, inventory item 4 equals blah, blah, blah. And bam, you change that. That's done. Bam, now you can already pick up maximum to 4 items. Wow, poggers. But now we have a problem. What if all of your slots are taken? Then we say if inventory item 1, again we say it equals true because that means there's something in it, and inventory item 2 slot has something in it, slot 3, slot 4 is something in, all of the 4 slots that you have has something in it. Then we say counter timer 0.1 swap equals true. Now why am I adding a countdown timer here? Because the code gets funky. Because if I didn't add this, it would basically pick up the item and then instantly drop it again, because this is what the swap function will do. So we just put a counter timer in it. Anyway, that's it. That's all there is.